Hey guys, welcome to Hendrix Friday number 3. Now I know I'm a bit late on this one, it's Hendrix Saturday this week, but I couldn't get to it yesterday. I was, however, playing Hendrix stuff all week this week. When I got a chance to play, I was just obsessed with this gold SG behind me and a track called Easy Blues, which is on People, Hell and Angels, an album you've heard me mention quite a few times, I think, if you've been watching my videos. People, Hell and Angels is really worth a listen, and when I first started listening to it about 6 months ago, well, it's been like the one thing on the front of my Spotify page ever since then. I hadn't heard it before. It was released in 2013, and I wasn't really into guitar stuff at the time. It was all unreleased Hendrix stuff that was supposedly going to make up, his next album, and it's just full of some great stuff. I've got so much inspiration off of it. Well, one of the tracks that I really enjoy is Easy Blues. And I wanted to try and get that tone. Now, I don't know what guitar he was playing. To me, it doesn't necessarily sound like a Strat, but I'm not 100% sure. It doesn't really matter. I wanted to play this gold SG, and I think it does a great job for it. So in this video, what I wanted to do was show you this wah pedal, which is quite new to me, and compare it to another very popular wah pedal, and also to show you how I put this little rig together to get that sound, which I think it's one of the more vintage sounds I've ever managed to get, as in the sound in my head that I heard on the record as well, and I really just wanted to get that sound to come out. So let's hear another minute or so, and then I'll talk to you more about this wah pedal. Okay, so I got this wah pedal about a month ago, and it's one of the new Vox Real McCoy Wah pedals. I think the point with it, it's sort of like a hand-wired thing. It's got some great components inside, which I'll put on screen. And I follow a guy on Instagram called Venus Witch, which comes from a Hendrix lyric. And he's like a nut about proper original wahs, and you know, he puts together great replicas that go for a lot of money, and he recommended this Vox Real McCoy and said they've done a really great job. It sounds like a real vintage one, and he'll also take one of these and add a few special parts to it to make it even more so, but he's quite a difficult person to get hold of in the sense that he's so busy and doesn't do a lot of them. But yeah, I got this about a month ago, and you've not seen it on the channel because I just thought, oh, it's not what I expected. It's battery only. I put a battery in and I played it and it just didn't sound good. So I left it, tried it again, didn't sound good. Then I thought, okay, maybe the battery's no good. Put in a new battery and it sounds fantastic. It's the only problem with pedals, like, you know, real vintage style pedals, I think you get the best sound using a battery, but there is no option to plug in a power cable. So maybe harder for people who are actually gigging these things to trust that you're always going to have a good battery around. Just something to take note of. But saying that, this pedal is fantastic, and to sort of make you, and to sort of show you that, later in the video you'll hear a very quick comparison with another really good wah pedal that I've got that's one of the more popular modern ones. But first of all, I wanted to show you how I put this sound together. So unlike the first two Hendrix Friday episodes I did, there's no lesson in this one because I'm not playing exactly anything from Hendrix. I've got influence from Easy Blues, go and listen to that. But really, apart from sort of figuring out a couple of the sort of chord sounds he used and everything, I just put a loop that sounded roughly similar to what is on the bass there, using my bass, and just wanted to have some fun, really. I've been so busy this week doing other stuff and not being in the studio that I had an hour here and there. I just wanted to have a loop going and have some great fun. And this was really inspirational, this sound, this sort of style of Hendrix's that I adore. So at the moment, I'm plugged into my vintage Fender Super Reverb, and so although it may not be the most Hendrixy amp, that's just the amp I really want to play at the moment. I'm getting used to this amp, it's quite new to me, and there'll be some more videos coming up on it soon, and it just gives you a really great bass tone. But in this case, I've not done anything much with it, in the sense it's just set quite low on 5.5, so if you just hear the SG by itself, you'll hear there's not really a lot going on. Now this is my Gibson Custom Shop 64 reissue, so I know Hendrix is famous for using a 68 Custom with the 3 pickups, and I'm planning to make myself one of those soon. I've got the parts for it, and I'm just sort of psyching myself up to get going with it. But this is quite similar. It has a similar feel and sound to what I hear Hendrix play, and to the 68 custom reissue Hendrix that I played as well. It has there's a real strattiness to it, actually. The SG, when you use low gain, really doesn't feel like a Les Paul at all. Like when you crank them up, you know, sort of a la AC/DC, yeah, you get that big wall of sound from the humbuckers, but actually they're such flexible sounding guitars. So I've been playing this all week. It's pretty much all I've wanted to play, and it can do everything. In this case, with some great PAF replicas from Sunbear, these are the 59 PAF replicas that he does. They're just so brilliant. You roll back a bit and you almost feel like you're playing a single coil, which is the you know, what I would want out of a great PAF. So what we're going to do, I'm going to work backwards. The Vox is at the end of my chain, then there's a delay before it, and then there's a fuzz before that. I'll take you through so you can hear how those tones add up together. Also, I'm a bit under the weather, so I'm feeling very low energy, which is why this video might feel a little bit slow and lacking in energy. But that's why, yeah, it's been a long week and I'm feeling quite ill. But I really wanted to get this out because I still am thinking about this tone and this guitar and everything. And when I came in here this morning, that's what I wanted to play again. So you can hear that Vox Wah just sounds like a really old wah. It's not just sort of modulating the frequency, it's adding its own character to it, which I think is what you want out of a sort of properly made old style wah pedal. Now, if we hear the Xotic Wah that I've got, suddenly that gave me nothing at all in comparison to this. It doesn't have the same sweep, it doesn't have the high end, it sucks a bit of the high end out, whereas I actually really like that toppy brightness that comes from the vintage sounding one. It has that character that is I hear in Hendrix, which the fuzz will help to sort of alleviate a little bit of that high end. And the way it's almost got a bit of gain to it, it hits the amp and you can hear that, and yeah, it just fizzles a little bit, which I really like. When you hear the Xotic one, it just left me feeling a little bit like, oh, okay, well I can sell that then. Like, you know, it's in some situations the Xotic is going to be more stable. I found that putting the Vox in the chain is a little bit more of a pain than the Xotic, and the Xotic has, you know, 9-volt power, so in that sense it's really useful. I'm not saying it's terrible, it's still really good, and I've got some great sounds out of it in the past. But when you put it next to this one, I've got to say Vox have done a great job, and this looks the part. I love the look of it. That to me is how a wah pedal should look. Okay, now let's put the dual analog delay from Analogman in front of that. And again, this is a fantastic delay pedal that I use all the time, and it also has its own warmth and character to it, and it sounds very vintagey as well. So let's hear what that sounds like. I'm not using a huge amount of delay, but it just adds that slight trippiness to the sound, you know, which you so often hear in Hendrix. Hendrix was using a tape delay a lot of the time, and I've got an analog tape delay with tape, which I've been meaning to do more stuff with, and I will do soon. But the Analogman one does such a great job. It just sounds fantastic. It doesn't get in the way of your tone completely, unlike the tape one, which has its own sort of valve preamp, the one I've got. But it does have a character that to me just makes everything sound a little bit better, and I've had so many people who come and play it and then go and buy one. It's just, honestly, I mention it in almost every video at the moment. It's brilliant. So the wah and the delay together already gave me so much to do, like, you know, to play around with. I just felt really inspired, and on top of that bass loop, just needed that extra hair coming out of my fuzz. So I've had a few questions about this fuzz pedal because it's been in almost every video I've done recently. And this was the one that was gifted to me by Hello Sailor Effects. And it's his Abbey Road Germanium fuzz in the big enclosure. And it's got the third knob, which is like a bias knob. And I'd say that one of the things that makes it really useful is that I've been able to dial it in per guitar and amp, and I can change that depending on the sound I want, and it's really helpful. It makes it a lot more usable, I find. But also, I don't use fuzz maybe in the most traditional way. I don't often roll it all the way up to get that big fuzzy sound, especially when I'm not using a Strat. But this one has probably the best cleanup I've ever heard. So I keep it on as basically an always on pedal. I haven't got the volume super high. The fuzz is maybe on 3/4, just below 3/4. The volume's just past half. It will go super loud, obviously, if I roll that up. But the effect it gives me is I can get more dynamics out of my own guitar's volume then. If I roll it all the way up, I'm going to get a big fuzz sound. But just start to clean up a tiny bit, and it becomes glassy and dynamic and brilliant to play. So I think Joe at Hello Sailor has done a magical job with that. Definitely worth checking out if you're into Germanium fuzzes, although his silicon one that I've got is amazing as well, and I need to maybe do a comparison video for you. So yeah, when I put all three together, honestly, this was, I felt like a kid this week playing this. When I would walk in just for an hour or so here and there and just turn on all three pedals, I was just in the zone straight away. It gave me this Hendrixy vibey sound with the SG. I'm planning to do more videos about Hendrix and the SG soon. I want to do some Red House and do some lessons on Red House because I think it's one of the best blues tracks ever. And I also want to just talk about the SG in comparison to other guitars. So I'm planning on doing a video in the next couple of days, which is a blues solo over a loop, but on 6 or 7 different guitars, starting with the SG, Strat, Les Paul, Tele, and etc. And we can hear the difference and see what the SG gives you compared to the others. Sorry, wiping my nose. I think it might be hay fever. Anyway, it's a bit of a short Hendrix Friday this week. I'm just going to let the clip I recorded play you out. So if you want to take anything from this video, it's that I think this Vox Wah is actually fantastic in terms of its... I've had 4 wah pedals in my life, the latest one being the Xotic. The Xotic was great until I heard this and realised that actually there's a lot more to wah sounds than I thought. There's something this can give you, that sort of vibey vintage sound, which is hard to explain, but you can hear it and feel it. There's a sort of brittleness to it. There's a top end to it that one hasn't got. It shimmers a bit. The sweep is more interesting and better. And it just works to do that sound. I don't know if these are going to be limited or not. My serial number is 262, so they made a fair amount, but not a huge amount at that point. It feels well made. It's not too heavy though. Some of them can be quite heavy, and it just looks the part. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one, and I should be back in a couple of days, hopefully feeling a bit better. So have a lovely weekend. Cheers.